Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to New Life Live. I'm your host, Brian Perez. So happy to be here with you today. We're going to be here for 2 hours, too. So grab an open line. We would love to talk to you about whatever it is that you're going through. 1-800-229-3000 is our number. And to talk to you today, to answer your questions, we've got clinical psychologist Dr. Jill Hubbard here in the studio. How you doing, Jill?
Good, Brian. Good morning.
Yeah, great to have you here. And joining us from the East Coast, we've got JJ West. How are you, JJ?
I'm doing well, and good afternoon.
Yes,
from
good
the
afternoon.
East Coast.
That's right. That's right. JJ
Good
is
to be with you guys
Yes. He's a licensed marriage and family therapist, and he's going to kick off our show today with something that the Lord's put on his heart.
Yeah, so we have a few mango trees in our yard.
Oh,
and
yum.
With three actually, and they're delicious. And they are in full flower right now, and some of the buds are just starting to come out. Looks like it's going to be a good year for mangoes. We're excited about that. What's interesting is that 2 of the mangoes have tons of flowers, have tons of buds, and one of the mango trees has a lot, but not nearly as many as the other 2. And 2 of them, the one that I've described that has less, is only 5 feet away from one of the ones that has plenty. So same soil, same amount of water, but the difference is that one of the trees gets a lot more sunlight than the other one does. And so what's interesting there to me is it really does matter where you're planted. It really does matter how much light you're letting in to your world in terms of how much fruit you produce. We're all very familiar with Jesus' passage of the soils, the 4 soils, and the sower throwing the seed, and then in the final one, there's the good soil. It produces a crop of fruit that's 30, 60, 100-fold the seed. And so we have to ask ourselves, when we're looking at our lives and we're thinking about the fruitfulness of our lives, where am I planted? Am I planted in a place that I am receiving not only nutrients, right, the soil, the nutrients, but also am I letting the light shine in my life in such a way that it's bearing fruit? And if not, maybe we need to wrestle with the question of being planted elsewhere, asking God, is there somewhere else that I need to be planted in order to be more fruitful? Which is a hard question. Most people don't like change. Most people like things to stay the way that they are. But if I'm not bearing the fruit that I could bear, do I need to be replanted somewhere else? And just being willing to have that conversation with God and letting Him direct our path rather than us saying, no, I'm going to choose where I'm going to stay. Thank you very much, Lord. I'll take it from here.
Okay, so were you at my church on Sunday? Because this is the parable that the pastor talked about on Sunday. But I love the idea, because even if you're mentioning the sunshine, and we know that if we can get outside for the first 10 minutes of our day in sunshine, if you have sunshine, it is good for our mental well-being to have those rays on us. So
yeah, I'm very grateful. I live in a place where I get to be outside quite a bit.
Yeah.
As are we, except today. It's raining today. Can you believe it? It never rains in Southern California, but it is today.
I think there's a song.
I think there is. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call us today. We're going to be here for 2 hours. What would you like to ask JJ West and Dr. Jill Hubbard? 1-800-229-3000 is our number. We're going to begin with Beth in Texas when we come back from the break, and we want to hear from you as well. So man go, woman go to your phone. See what I did there with the mangoes and everything? 1-800-229-3000. We'll be back.
Here at New Life, we want you to have transformation. And so we have created the New Life courses, and you meet weekly on Zoom with a coach or counselor. You're going to have teaching as well as that group connection, because we know how powerful that is. We hear that all the time about our intensives, that they love the information, but the group process is so powerful. And many of you have been hesitant to participate because you're not sure, the timing, the price. New Life courses are going to meet you right at that area of need. Every week you're meeting on Zoom with that therapist. You're going over the concepts as well as connecting as a group. It is so powerful, and it's accessible. Wherever you are, you're going to be able to join us.
Embark on your journey of personal growth and self-discovery in April with a New Life course. Lose It for Life, Grief Recovery, or Divorce Recovery. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
And before we go to Beth in Texas, I want to give a quick shout out to our newest affiliates. They are listening in the Cayman Islands. We are now on Cayman Public Radio. That is so awesome. This is day 2 that we're there. Yes. So welcome aboard, Cayman Islands. And if you would like to call in, you can find out all the details on our website, newlife.com/radio. But we would love to hear from you. Now, let's talk to Beth, who is in Houston, listening on KWRD. Welcome, Beth, to New Life Live.
Thank you.
What's going on? How can we help you?
We're in a joint family household currently. Youngest son, his wife, 2 little preschool boys. My husband is able to interact in a counseling, role, or, be able to hear whatever my daughter-in-law might have difficulty with and be able to advise her. I walked through almost everything that she's walked through. She will not accept anything. I raised 4 kids. Grew up with an alcoholic dad, father, stepfather, and just you name it, I walked through it. The Lord has done an immense amount of healing and help for me to be able to figure out what's the proper way or how to respond or forgive. I can't speak to her on any of this. She won't accept it. It is whatever I have to say has no merit or bearing. And I love this girl.
Oh.
I want to be there for her. I want to be able to say, look, this is what Jesus did. This is how he helped me.
But she's not having it.
Beth, how long has your son been married?
Almost 7 years.
Okay.
Their youngest is 3, and their oldest is 6.
And how long have they been living with you?
The first time we did it for 3 years, and then we had 2 years apart, and then they began to really struggle. So we decided to try that again, just for a couple of years, to help get over the hump. My son does not abuse alcohol to the extent that she does. We don't at all.
Okay.
So we already knew walking in there were going to be challenges. This time around, it's a little better. We don't have the screaming carry on that happened the first time around.
The screaming at each other or at you guys?
Pick one.
Okay.
It all fits.
Well,
and we've not had that this time around. However, we're now walking into children starting school, how to deal with behavior. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So first of all, Beth, I'm sorry you're going through this. Generally, mother-in-laws and daughter-in-laws, that can be a difficult relationship. I get that. So you know that, right? And you're telling me also that she might abuse alcohol. So there's some stress that she has, some insecurities that she's trying to self-medicate. So often the mother-in-law can be the loveliest person in the world, and like you, just have a heart for their daughter-in-laws. But depending on her relationship with her own mom and some of her unresolved issues, she can feel highly scrutinized even by your presence. Because now you're telling us you've been through all this. You have so much to offer her. That can feel very intimidating because she's a young wife with young children and she's figuring all this out for the first time, and they're not doing it so well, right? They've needed your help. And so unfortunately that puts her in a position then of in some ways resenting you or fearing that she might be critiqued by you. And I think mother-in-laws have to be especially careful not to come across in their desire to be well-meaning as critical. And I think you have to see that she may be hearing things through a critical lens. If you want to tell her how to do it better, then she hears, oh, I'm not doing it well enough. And so that creates a difficult situation. So anytime you can let her know that you think she's doing a great job, and encourage her in those ways without feeling like you need to impart advice, that might go better for you.
Let me just ask really quick, Beth, are there times when you see her doing good things? I mean, she's not a horrible parent, or what do you see?
There are times I don't want to sound critical. I really don't.
Well, you can tell us, but
yeah, it's just very frustrating to see the way that she talks to her children, our grandson, and she's not gentle. She's not loving. She can be loving. She truly can. But as soon as she gets home from work, there is alcohol going into her system until she goes to bed.
Wow.
And so the dynamics, my son tries to play peacekeeper, I guess, or, be Mr. Mom. And I deeply appreciate it. And, we help out. We take turns cooking. We take turns childcare. But honest to goodness, there are times I want to take her outside and shake her and say, do you understand?
Yeah.
You have a very brief window. You have a brief window.
Right. And
you're losing that window.
Mm-hmm.
And,
wow.
Yeah.
JJ, what would you...
I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
So, and Beth, honestly, of course you're feeling that way because you love your grandchildren as well, and you don't want to see them harmed. And you want to see both your son and daughter-in-law have a good, healthy relationship with them, to raise them in a way that, in the fear and admonition of the Lord, in a way that's healthy for them, right? You want all of that. But, even that statement, right? Like sometimes I want to just take her outside and shake her and like, don't you see what you're doing, right? Like that can bleed through even in our simplest interactions. No, of course not. Of course not. And you never would. I don't believe you ever would do that, right? But even that frustration, that feeling of powerlessness can seep into even our most basic interactions with the other person, and they can pick up on that. So what I would recommend, if you're willing to try something somewhat risky, somewhat vulnerable, would be to actually sit down with her. this maybe on a weekend before she starts drinking, because it's really going to be important that she's in her right mind and you're in your right mind. And you lead with how much you do love her, how much you want to have a good relationship with her, how much you want to be a resource for her and for your son and for your grandchildren. And you can say, I've sensed this. I've sensed that whenever I've tried to offer advice or a different perspective, it feels like there's resistance there from you. And I don't know if that's accurate. That's just my perspective. But if it is, can we talk about that? Because I don't want there to be resistance between us. I want us to be able to have a good and open relationship. And if I'm overstepping boundaries, I want you to be able to tell me that, right? But can we talk about what I'm sensing? Am I crazy? Am I sensing something that's not there? Or is there something there that we can work on together? Right now, we're inviting her into a partnership in terms of working on the relationship, as opposed to me coming and telling you what to do. It's vulnerable. It's risky, because she could deny it, say, no, you're seeing something that's not there. She could blast you. Yes, you're right, and here's why. Here's all the terrible things that you've done, and it's going to be really hard to not get angry and defensive there. But it could lead to where she may not even be aware that there's resistance there. She may not even be aware that she's feeling criticized by you, if that's the case. I'm not saying that it is. She may not even be aware of how that interaction is going, and so just talking about it can actually help in the interaction. But again, there's risk involved if you decide to be that vulnerable with her.
Well, and I think you can name with her that your goal is to be supportive and encouraging, and but that you realize, two women in a household and you being older, sometimes it doesn't always feel the way it's intended. And so if it doesn't feel that way to her, you want to hear. And then to ask her, how can you support and encourage her? What does she want or need from you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Beth, what do you think?
I'm willing to try that.
Yeah. I mean, take her out for coffee or something on a Saturday morning. Just a little girl time.
Well,
if she'll let you.
You don't sound too sure, Beth.
Her work schedule's not as flexible for that, but
okay.
Sure.
So, on a day when she has a day off.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
or an evening off, or an afternoon off, however it works. And she may, if she's working,
go ahead.
if she's working full time and she's got a crazy schedule and she's got 2 little kids, I mean, she's stressed out.
For sure.
And they
I
have
was
money
just about
problems.
to say the same thing. Yeah.
Right? That's a lot to juggle.
And so it can be helpful as well for us to think back, what was it like for me when I was in a similar situation with young kids and working a lot and feeling stressed and financial challenges. Like, that can help as well to have empathy and compassion for her in your conversation.
And here's the thing. So, as a working mom, and I was a working single mom, I felt like I wasn't doing either well enough. Right? Yeah, I had to give energy in both places, and it was a lot to juggle. And so, and you feel torn, right? And in Christian circles, it's like, we want to stay home with our kids, but I need to work. And so then there is that tension and that awareness that you have of, it goes so fast. When you're right in the middle of it, you can't see that. That's a hard thing to see. You know it intellectually because everybody tells you that, but you really don't know what it means until they're graduating high school and then they're getting through college. And it's like, wow, where'd that time go? I wish I could go back and just sit on the floor and play with them.
I think we'll send you a copy of Doing Life with Your Adult Children by Jim Burns. So if you'll stay on the phone, Beth, we will get that out to you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right.
I really appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, let us
Yeah.
know how things turn out.
Yes.
We would love to hear from you again. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call us, and we're going to be here for 2 hours today. So grab an open line. Dr. Jill Hubbard and JJ West are here at 1-800-229-3000. By the way, JJ, our Every Man's Battle intensives, we just had one here in Orange County, and we had a man write to us to share that he attended that one. It was his 4th time going to the workshop. Here's what he said. I'm planning to go to all the workshops that I can because I feel recharged every time I go. I'm doing great and helping other men that have marriage problems now. What do you think about that?
I love hearing that, and we hear
Yeah.
that over and over. We hear it over and over. And the truth is, you get more out of it the 2nd, 3rd, 4th time through because you're in a different place emotionally and mentally. You've built stronger relationships with the other guys. And, going to the workshop, it's like drinking from a fire hose. You can't get it all in one gulp. There's no way. So you got to do it in multiple settings. So yeah, I love that. And we welcome them back every time.
Yes, and there's another one happening next month, the weekend of April 25th. It's in Washington, D.C. You can find out all about it on our website, newlife.com, or by calling us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. More calls coming up at 1-800-229-3000.
Early on, looking at pornography that went into affairs, massage parlors, strip clubs with buddies. Before you know it, you're ashamed of that.
Every day, men struggle with sexual integrity, impure thoughts, strip clubs, affairs, pornography.
My wife got a phone call, and she asked me who this person was, and man, how do I get myself out of this one?
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Intensive.
When she said to me, I want you to look at this website named Every Man's Battle, she had me look, and I said, no, this is exactly where I need to be. This is exactly the problems I have, and I'm gonna go.
You don't have to struggle any longer. Get help in Washington, D.C., April 25th through the 27th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register or to find out more. 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Use the discount code NLL to save $50. For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. And I was talking about the Every Man's Battle Intensive, how there's one happening in April. And I read this note from this gentleman who's gone 4 times now. And if you're wondering, how can somebody go to this thing 4 times? Well, if you go to one, you're now considered an alumni or an alumnus, one of those. And you get a discount on any future intensives that you attend. So that's why this gentleman has gone to 4 of them now. So whether it's your first time, your 4th time, your 14th time, we would love to see you. And not that there's a limit at 14. You can keep coming past that, but I'm just saying. I was just trying to have some alliteration there. But
then
get
you
all
will
the
be
details.
an honorary
Yes,
member.
yes. You'll get like
and
front
you
row
get even a
seating or
bigger
something.
discount after
Yes.
14.
We let you lead one of the sessions if you've been there 14
yeah.
times.
By that time, you might be an expert, right? So again, go to newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more about this Every Man's Battle Intensive. It's for men who are dealing with sexual integrity issues, whether it's pornography or affairs or just, that kind of thing. And it's guys, don't make that excuse of, well, boys will be boys. We like looking at women or whatever. That's not what this is about. You've got to be different. You don't have to be held bondage.
Well, and
to
it
that.
goes deeper, right,
Yeah.
JJ? It gets underneath that behavior and what is fueling
Yes,
it.
Exactly.
Yes, indeed.
Exactly. Yeah.
1-800-229-3000 is our number, and we're going to go to Indianapolis, where Mindy is listening to us on the Family Talk channel, Sirius XM 131. Thank you so much for calling in, Mindy. How can we help you today? Mindy, are you there? Mindy, did you press mute on your phone? Wait.
Oh, we lost
She
Mindy.
dropped. Okay, so Mindy, call us back, please, because we would love to hear from you and answer whatever question it is that you had for us today. So there's another way that you can get your questions to us, and you can get all the details at newlife.com/radio. You can leave us a voicemail. You can email us your questions. Of course, we love hearing from you when we're here, like today at 1-800-229-3000. But we understand you may not be able to call because of your work schedule or whatever. But let's hear one of those voicemails right now.
I have a question for you. I've got a loved one, a nephew who just got out of prison 4.5 years, and for drugs and theft. And I'm getting slack from the rest of my family because I have asked for him not to know where I live. And I want to know if you think that's an unchristian-like thing to do. ? I'm the only one in my family that goes to an active church right now. So I have a lot of questions about that. Thank you.
All right. What do you guys think of that? JJ?
Well, my heart goes out to her, having relatives who also have spent time in prison, are currently spending time in prison, and who have addictions. It's really, really hard. I don't think on the surface, just having that request is not an unchristian thing to do. It would help to know why. Certainly if the person has broken boundaries, misbehaved in her home, if this person has stolen from her, has been abusive, verbally, emotionally, physically, sexually, any of that, then absolutely it would be completely reasonable for her to say, I don't want this person to know where I live because he's dangerous. He's not behaved well. And so it's called having boundaries. And there are people who bristle when you put up boundaries for yourself. They think they should have 100% access to you at all times and in all ways, and that's just simply not true. So it's not an unchristian thing to set a boundary, but it does kind of raise the question, okay, why are you asking for that? I definitely can come up with plenty of reasonable reasons why you would set that boundary. So I don't think on the surface it's unchristian or unloving or ungodly to do that, but I would want to at least wrestle with, okay, so why is it well, I could come up with a whole lot of reasons why it might not be as well, right?
Yeah, and I wonder, first of all, what was your relationship like with your nephew prior to the imprisonment? And with drugs, we know that people are not themselves. They become, a completely different version of themselves. And so is this a person that made good use of his prison time and became drug-free and has turned over a new leaf and is doing better? And have you had the opportunity to see that? Now, a lot of times people can come out and say, oh, I'm totally different. And it takes time. You have to see that over time. So who was he prior to drug use even? And then what are you seeing now? And why the fear of him still being dangerous? Is there good reason for that?
Jill,
right?
That's a great point, just in terms of, is he rebuilding trust?
Yes.
And are you having interactions with him where
years.
you can see that? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Agreed.
There's so much of a misconception amongst the Christian community that you've got to be there for everyone. You've got to put yourself in harm's way. you need to turn the other cheek. You got to give people another chance. But when there's that possibility of danger, we need to be careful.
Yeah. And what's the reality of that, right? I mean, forgiveness, we need to forgive, but that's different than trust and reconciliation.
Yes, it is.
Correct.
Okay, we're up to our break. We'll come back and talk to you guys at 1-800-229-3000. It's Dr. Jill Hubbard and JJ West here for 2 hours today. Give us a call. We would love to talk to you.
Restore gave me strength. It gave me more belief in my faith. I met up with a group of women that are going through things that they had no control over.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, Restore Intensive will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
When two people want to do their part, we can be restored. But if they don't, we can still be restored. We are not stuck because someone else made a decision. That God lets us weigh in on how we want to walk out our lives. Our wellness does not hinge on another person's decision.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Dallas, Texas, May 2nd through the 4th. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
I had a great experience at Restore.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL. Club New Life changes lives.
I think I go way back to listening to New Life, learning so much from it, and then becoming a Club New Life member.
Club New Life is a monthly giving family that helps New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people.
You know, I'm so thankful because, you know why I keep giving? Because I keep learning, and I'm so thankful for all the lives that you touch every day and the people's lives. So when I get to still hear the radio show, it's just so encouraging to my heart.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
And you know one reason I give? Because I feel like sometimes I'm hiding behind a counselor's couch, listening to all this great information and not paying. So my guilt of this great advice is alleviated by being a Club New Life member.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. And together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
So much exciting news to share with you here at New Life. I told you earlier that we're now in the Cayman Islands on Cayman Public Radio. How cool is that? But something else that's going on right now, we have a $500,000 matching gift. Wow. Now, if you've ever wanted your gift to go twice as far, to double your impact, now is the time to make that gift. And there's several ways you can do it. newlife.com. Go there to get all the details. You can also call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, or you can text the word MATCH to 28950. If you've ever wanted to give, if you've always wanted to, and you've just, I don't know, now is a great time to do it because your gift will be matched, a total of $500,000.
So you can give half as much. Like,
yes, you give $10, it becomes $20.
It becomes more.
Yes, exactly. You give $20, it becomes $40.
That's not the direction we want it to go. But
I was going to say, or you could give more, and it becomes even more.
Yes. That's much better.
That's what she was trying to say. I'm sure.
You can be half as generous. No.
No. Be doubly generous, and it'll quadruple. How cool is that? But again, details at newlife.com. And the other piece of good news that we have is that Mindy is back. Yay!
Yay!
Mindy from Indianapolis, listening on Sirius XM channel 131. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. Glad you could call us back.
Thank you. I'm traveling with one of my small grandsons just to have a breather for a minute down to my son's house from my daughter while they're packing and trying to move. But yeah, it's been quite a time, quite a journey.
Well, what's going on? Tell us more.
Well, I was here in August from Connecticut. I'm originally from Indiana, but I live in Connecticut now, and I was here last year. It's been going on for 3 years. I helped my son get custody of his children in Arkansas. Then they moved up here to Indiana, back to Indiana. And my daughter lived in a home that we owned over by Indianapolis in a small town. And to make a long story short, last August when I was here, I got an emergency call that she and the boyfriend were being arrested for meth charges. And so everything just crumbled. They were living in the house that we owned here that I sold that. And so God has answered prayer. We do have a home to move to on Monday. Sorry, I'm crying.
It's okay.
It's okay.
But there are many children involved. And she's going through so much. She's clean. She had used for about 6 months a year or something like that, but she's been clean for 6 months, and she has the children back on what they call an in-home CHINS case where they're in her care. But I am here. I'm 67 years old and not in the greatest health, but just trying to get her to a better place and a new start, to get her back to where she can remember her God. And I tell my children that, and anybody that I meet, I've reached out to so many. I mean, I'll pray with anybody in a parking lot, a stranger at a park, anywhere. And I tell them, if it wasn't for my God, for my Jesus, I would not be able to take one step or breathe. So it's just the question that how to deal with even her emotions when she disengages, and she even gets, attitudes with me or whatever. I mean, she's known the Lord before. And that's just my question. How to deal with my adult children that have had so much pain and so much happen in their lives that I could never fathom if I didn't walk beside them. But I don't know you don't know that person. I can't say I've been in your shoes because I have not.
JJ, what do you say to Mindy?
Yeah, Mindy, I love your heart for not only your children, but also your grandchildren, and, just wanting to be helpful and supportive, and, it's beautiful. And even your tears are really just beautiful. They're, I think, representative of God's tears for the brokenness that your children are facing. It's really hard when people we love are hurting, especially if they're hurting because they've made choices that have led to the pain that they're in. It's really, really hard to watch someone make a bad choice and then have to suffer for it. I respect your question. I think it's important because you're absolutely right that we shouldn't just let someone mistreat us with their words. However, we also want to be compassionate and empathetic because she's really learning how to relate again. I've never used meth. I don't know what it's like, but I do know that there are definitely whole categories of drugs that alter our brain and alter our brain chemistry in such a way that we have to relearn some things that maybe we knew before, and now we have, we don't have access to that neural pathway because it's been blocked by our drug abuse. So some of what you're describing, it may simply be I've got to be patient in understanding that she's relearning some things that somehow the drugs have made it difficult for her to live out. And there may also need to just be some clear boundaries that say, listen, I'm here to help and support, and I want to help you get back on your feet and do what you need to do to regain full custody of your children. However, it's important for me to not put myself in situations where I'm being abused verbally or emotionally. And so if you say these kinds of things to me, or if you behave these ways to me, I'm going to distance myself as a way to self-protect. And it's not because I don't love you. It's not because I don't want anything to do with you. It's not because I am abandoning you. It's because it's important and healthy for me to make sure that I'm safe. Because if I'm not safe, then I actually lose my effectiveness in being able to help and serve and care for you and my grandchildren. And so just being able to let her know that that's what's happening can help her recognize, oh, I can't say these things to my mom, or I can't say them in this way, or I can't behave this way because I'm actually pushing her away and I don't want to do that.
Jill.
And so, Mindy, okay, a couple of things. So first of all, what JJ was saying about the brain, I mean, it's remarkable that she has gotten clean and that she has gotten her kids back to the degree that she has. It takes a good year for the brain to level out and for people to feel more like themselves. So be aware of that. And I love everything JJ said. Prior to that, what I might do is if she like talks to you in a way that is harsh or feels bad, I might say, hey, sweetie, what's going on? Are you aware of the way you're lashing out at me? Or what are you feeling right now? Or did I do something? Or, kind of like hold a mirror up a little bit to the behavior, because there's usually something that's going on and you want to be careful not to react to it, because it's like they treat us badly and you don't want to come in with, well, kind of like, how dare you treat me that way, right?
Right.
And so more like, hey, what's going on? I know you're you seem a little snappy or a little more aggressive right now. You doing okay? And shift your concern to her first, and then I think having the conversation of, I'm going to call you out when you're treating me in a way that doesn't feel good, because I want you to be aware of that, and it's also, I need to do that for me. And then, kind of what that part being what JJ was talking about. But sometimes they're not aware, sometimes they're edgy, sometimes, right? And the more she's working a program, and I'm hoping this being 6 months clean means she's in a program, they'll start to catch themselves and go, oh, I'm so sorry. You're right. I didn't mean that. Because they start to learn to take ownership of their behavior.
Does this
and
help you,
that's super
Mindy?
important.
Yes, it helps me quite a bit. Thank you.
And you're a wonderful mom, and you've come alongside and really tried to help your kids, and it is really hard. It's hard to watch, as JJ was saying.
It is.
I think we'll send you a copy of the book, Doing Life with Your Adult Children, if you'll stay on the telephone there. And we've got more phone calls, more questions coming up. What kind of advice do you need today? We would love to talk to you about whatever it is you're going through, struggles, mental health issues, maybe issues with your kids, with your parents, with your spouse. Call us up, 1-800-229-3000. And when we're done with this hour of the program, we're going to stick around for another hour so that we can talk to you and help you here on New Life Live.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 Steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
If you're familiar with the recovery world, you know about the practice of taking a daily inventory. Well, we think everyone, not just those in recovery, could benefit from this practice, and we have a guide to help you do this each day. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and request 7 questions to ask when taking a daily personal inventory. I love this. I looked over the questions. It's a tip sheet that we can give you when you call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. It's great to do right before you go to bed each night to kind of look back and reflect on how your day went, whether good or bad. It's good to look at both the good and the bad, and you can find out more when you request this free tip sheet by calling us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Again, it's called 7 Questions to Ask When Taking a Daily Personal Inventory. Let's talk to Solomon now. He is in Philadelphia, listening on WBYN. Welcome to New Life Live, Solomon.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for taking my question.
Of course.
So, I have a question regarding just verbal abuse and emotional abuse. Sometimes it did get physical. I'm married. I have 3 children. And my wife has sometimes in the past, just regarding disagreements, has got abusive, and I documented it, and I let the elders of our church know, and there was some resolution, and my wife seemed to be doing better. But recently it has gone back, and to the point, she stopped, when I did tell my elder, she stopped going to church, and she went to another church. But she started back on that, just uncontrollable behavior, especially during our monthly cycles. It does happen, but I'm just at a loss because it's been over the years, and I don't know what else to do next.
Okay. What do you guys think? It's interesting that he pointed out that it's happening at a particular time of the month, too.
Right, which does happen for some women. And Solomon, lots of questions. I'm wondering if your wife grew up in an abusive home. 25% of homes have some form of physical abusiveness in terms of people like yelling or screaming or throwing things that... And so if that's how she learned to interact, that would then impact her relationship with you. And certainly if she has some unresolved things. I hear that you went to the church and you went that way. Have you guys done any work together in counseling to maybe look at some of the history?
Yes, we did. And some of the things that we found out, my wife grew up in a very neglected home, till she was even a young adult. She was completely neglected as a child. That's the history. And in terms of counseling hasn't been particularly helpful for us. Our personality that we found out was she's more like a dismissive avoidant. She will get violent and then completely avoid a conversation and relationship until, again, it just goes into the cycle where there's we don't talk, and then finally we do talk, and there's some resolution. I mean, she doesn't want to even apologize, but as a Christian, I just forgive and move on. So, but counseling hasn't been particularly helpful because most of the counseling, they deal with marriage, but they don't look into abusive relationship. And that when we go to counseling, it actually exacerbates the feelings, and it actually is not helpful.
Wow. JJ, any thoughts from you?
Yeah. So you said she's not apologetic when this happens. Does she defend her behavior when you confront her? Does she suggest that it's justified, her being verbally, emotionally, and physically abusive?
Yeah, she's defensive, and she doesn't stick to what is being discussed. She's very evasive. Like I said, she's avoidant, so any confrontation about her behavior would only lead to more abusive behavior than resolution. At this point, it's best to just suck it up and just move on.
Hey, the kids are safe during all this, right?
Yeah, how old are your kids?
My kids are 11, 9, and 7, and surprisingly, she's an amazing mom with my kids. She's very accomplished in her career. She earns quite a bit. I do too, and we have fast-paced jobs. So her comfort is to just keep working, and she focuses on her career.
Does she ever take a day off?
No, she doesn't. She takes too much pride in her work, and that's part of the package. And we are immigrants to America, so we need to keep that high-paying job, which doesn't happen. And we have very less community around us.
Yeah. Is she abusive toward you when the kids are around? Are they witnessing this?
Yes. Recently they have. Progressively, the abuse has extended to in front of family and friends. Before it was private, it's becoming more public.
Yeah. And so this is becoming enough of a problem that you can't just suck it up and move on anymore, because this isn't just a problem that's affecting your relationship with your wife. It's going to be a problem that affects the way that your children grow up and what they believe to be normal in terms of marital relationship, as well as one of the main factors, one of the main contributors across the board, when they study after study, what's the most likely contributing factors to someone becoming abusive is that they were abused themselves. Okay. And so the likelihood, if this continues, the likelihood of one or more of your children becoming abusive is quite high. And I know that you don't want that. I would imagine that if in her sane moments, if we were to ask your wife, she would say the same, that she would not want that either. Because every child who grows up in any kind of abusive environment, they all say the same thing. I'll never do this to my kid. And yet that's the number one factor that leads to abuse, because it's what becomes the default mode. Whatever I'm used to is my default mode. And so that when I get in times of stress, I typically revert to my default mode. I don't think it through. It's not something that I'm logically going, oh, I'm going to now go to my default mode. It just happens. And so this is a really serious issue. I'm glad that you're calling. I'm glad that you're recognizing I can't keep doing this. There may need to be a point, and it may be soon, it may even be now, where, Solomon, you have to say, I'm no longer willing to subject myself and my children to this abusive relationship. And so one of us, either me and the kids or you, need to separate in order to make things right? So now we have to work on this. And listen, I understand you've had some bad experiences with counseling. That doesn't mean that all counseling and all counselors are ineffective. I think you've had some bad experiences. I would suggest if you do this, if you do a therapeutic separation, it's for the goal of restoration. It's for the goal of, look, there's lots of good things in our relationship, but this has to change because it's not safe for us. And so we're going to work on changing that, but we're going to work together. We're going to find a therapist that understands the abusive relationship and can help us plot out a course for restoration and for good, healthy boundaries in our marriage.
And it may be part of that one of the expectations is that she will get into her own therapy to explore her childhood neglect, because this abuse towards her children is a form of neglect. And so she is repeating the cycle, because when she's in this abusive place, she's not emotionally providing for her children in a way that they need.
Solomon, we're going to send you a copy of Boundaries, and we're going to keep the lines open, 1-800-229-3000. Call in.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video, and please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE. But when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way. I'll see you next time.